Hey YouTube, I'm back and I'm making a video of what my arcade is here at the end of March. I have videos of most of these machines, but we're just going to give you a quick roundup of everything I got. Starting here with the Big Red. Not a lot has changed to this, sorry about the glare, but we're running pt.1, which is right on the screen now. We have Metal Slug 4, Last Blade, and Art of Fighting. We also have Baseball Stars, but we took that out to replace it with Last Blade. So this machine's in fairly good shape. It does need some work here on the control panel, but and I'd like to take that lock bar off and fill the holes. But we chose to get this one because we like the Big Red with the speakers over top like this. I think they call this the 25C version. You know, I'm not entirely certain on that, but everything else on it works. The monitor is a little bit on the red side. I have to go back there and adjust the pot for the red. So this is the Virtual Fighter. It's currently kind of MAME machine, but we like to play Steam games on it. This is Metal Slug 5 for Steam. We did drill some extra holes to make it a 6-button, but we have an extra control panel for it. The network wire, eventually this will be routed around back, but for it used to have a Wi-Fi card in it, but the Wi-Fi card is acting up, so I had to plug into a wire. So that's that. This does have a LCD TV in it. It's a full 1080p 27-inch, and it's very nice. You can't really even tell it's a TV. It doesn't have any issues with running over HDMI to the PC or anything like that. If you shut down the PC correctly and you power off the cabinet, when you come back, the screen will turn on and go back to where you were last, like HDMI 1 input. So, moving on. This is it was Puzzle Fighter, which I don't think, yeah, it's not going to show up because of the glare. But this was Puzzle Fighter, and this was Tekken, but we swapped them. So this is, I guess, Tekken 3 at the moment. We just got back the chassis for this. This is a Wells Gardner U5000. Got the chassis back from Arcade Cup. Chad there did a great job as always. And this tube is, I got this from a friend who had a NFL Blitz or something similar that he was making a maiden cabinet out of, and he didn't want to deal with it, and it was not working at the time. So now that the board's repaired, the tube is in great shape. The power supply right now, I think I burned out the power supply when I tried to plug Time Crisis in. I was trying to see if Time Crisis was having an issue with the cabinet it was in. And I plugged it into this, and it turned on for maybe 30 seconds, and then the fuse in the power supply popped, probably because it was drawing too much amps. And I replaced the fuse, but the power supply still seems dead. But it's just one of those cheap Chinese brand ones, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I went and rebuilt all the coin mechs, the reject buttons. It's got new locks on it. All of these have new locks on them, by the way, well, except for Neo Geo over there. So, but I've been slowly getting all matching locks and everything. So. Now this is kind of my homemade Naomi conversion cabinet. I put the Puzzle Fighter 2 marquee in there just kind of to fill the gap. But we're playing, what is this, Capcom versus SNK 2. And this has a nice VGA Neotech, I think. And this monitor, I have a video of me doing kind of some repair to it. I'm sorry I don't actually shoot video when I do the repairs, but this turned out to be just some transistors and a little bit of solder repair. Other than that, the monitor's great. So I put some LED lit buttons. A couple of them went out rather quickly. I'm kind of surprised, but I'm working with the person that I purchased them from, and they're getting me some new LEDs shipped for free. So again, I've gone through. I haven't put LEDs or anything in the coin doors. They're still running just the. Is it the 194? I don't know, but it's just the regular incandescent bulb. This has a network wire going into it because I am doing the Naomi net booting. If you want to see more about that, you can watch my video. This little guy here is the audio amplifier that I'm using. I'm actually going to pick up a couple more of these. Someone asked me what the model number is. It's a LaPi LP2020 Plus, I think. But if you watch my video about the Naomi net boot, I have the model number in there. It's a great little amp for under 20 bucks, and I only need to turn it up about barely even a quarter of the way, so it's got a nice bit of headroom. So, okay, moving on. This is my Marvel vs. Capcom. This is a CPS2 game system. This is one of my best purchases ever. I got this off of Craigslist for $30. The monitor's bright and clear. The game works and everything. The person that I got it from said that it was working one day and then it stopped. And I actually found out that the fuse holder inside the door, all of these are 3Com Z-back, and they have a fuse holder and a toggle switch inside the coin door, and actually the Neo Geo does too. It's actually, they're all made by the same company, so they all have a fuse holder and a toggle switch for the power supply inside. And the fuse holder is one of those push and turn type of panel mount fuse holders, and it just popped out or something, or someone was messing with it. We found it lying in the bottom of the cabinet, plugged it back in, and everything works great. You know, we had to reseat the game, but that could have just been from us moving it around. So, but yeah, this is probably the best pickup of all time. And the joysticks, I think I replaced the joysticks. They were kind of really worn down, but I have spares lying around. So, yeah, that is a killer deal. So, I also have an extra CPS2 main board that came in the Puzzle Fighter. Unfortunately, Puzzle Fighter cartridge is it suicided pretty bad. So this is one of my newest pickups. I just put out a video a few days ago when we picked this up, but I don't think I had it plugged in at the time. So I've been doing a bit of research on this. Of course, you know, it's got a Windows error message. This is it's very similar to your Golden Tee and such. This was put out by EA Sports and Global VR. And as far as I can tell, the only thing that's missing here is a dongle. It looks like the CMOS battery had died. It lost all of its settings, date and time, and it just wasn't firing on. So, interesting to note is inside here, I looked at the coin counter, and it's only got about 500 and maybe 525 plays. And I think this game is around 2004 maybe. So, you know, that's not a lot of plays for almost a decade of being in service. So, the monitor's nice and bright. It does have a little bit of a green there, and I think that's because it's right there on the wall. There's a rather large set of switches for the lights, and I think somehow it's picking up some magnetic fielding off of those wires. So. But it does have, the monitor has a degauss, and once we pull it away from the wall, we'll degauss it a couple times. If I have to get up a degaussing coil, I will, but I kind of find that if you just leave them alone for a week or so, they kind of find their natural state, and I think that's much more safer than using a degaussing coil on them, because you know, when you got a lot of them around, you start working on one and then all the others freak out. So okay, there's a Soul Calibur 2 marquee. That's not what's there, but we'll get to that in a moment. I actually had to disassemble my Soul Calibur 2, so we're kind of looking for a home for it right now. But what's really in here is Time Crisis, and I'm sorry, I would plug it in, but right now where this cabinet is at, the cord for it I'm using for the video camera right now. But we did get this to work. It has a Hanterix MTC 9110 monitor. Again, arcadecup.com, Chad over there did an excellent job on this as well, and the picture tube on it's great, and everything looks great on it. I thought the gun wasn't working because I was trying to use my Wells Gardner monitor, and if you look right in the manual, it says this game does not work with Wells Gardner 7000 series, and the U5000 is just kind of a it's like another 7000 series monitor made up of spare parts. So not their greatest monitor either. They're plagued with problems. So, but yeah, aside from being plugged in, everything on this cabinet works. So moving on, I haven't done a proper video yet of my jukebox. This is a AMI Row CD100. I don't know if it's just called CD100 or CD100A, but this is kind of like I don't know, kind of like Genesis for the common or most common CD laser jukebox. So I do have a conversion from cdadapters.com to run this whole system off of that iPod there. And the nice thing about it is it runs completely blind, so you can continue to use all the front panel controls on it. I put some new woofers down there. They're Eminence 10-inch woofers. They sound really nice. So, and aside from making all the title cards and stuff like that, it works. Again, it's because of its location. There's the surge strip I use right there. It's because of the location and stuff, I can't plug it in right at the moment, but I'll try to do a more in-depth video of this soon. I can't think of anything. I have some kind of like a LED rope light that I bought from Costco to go around the window, just to kind of liven it up. It also adds a lot more visual to the jukebox. It kind of has a weird effect on some of these are kind of like translights down here, and they're colored translights. So when you shine colored light behind them, they kind of have a weird effect of kind of colored mood lighting. So, but other than that, I mean, it needs a good scrub up, cleaning. But other than that, it's pretty much ready to go. Coin mechs work. I went in and replaced the battery with a proper battery holder, so it runs just a common CR2032 battery now that you can change out every couple of years without having to do any extra soldering. Very easy mod, just look it up. I actually took the battery holder off an old PC motherboard and just soldered it in its place, and then you can use the 2032 battery. Okay. Again, everything in my house is completely messy. I mean, actually that right there, if you look at that, that's the Area 51 Site 4 motherboard. I took it out to test it in another cabinet, and it actually works 100%. The only thing I don't know if it works or not is the guns. As is the case, they get abused a lot, and that's usually one of the first things to fail. So, since we're on the topic of Area 51, let's look at the Area 51 cabinet. This is a Dynamo Showcase cabinet. It's got the big, I don't know what you'd call that, a 36-inch or something like that. And that, I actually found out, is a sharp image monitor. Does CGA and EGA, so that's 15 and 25 hertz. So it's actually quite a nice monitor upgrade over my old Showcase cabinet. And let's see, what can we talk about this? I do have the header for it, so I unbolted it so I could fit it through my doorways. So it does come with the header. It's in really good shape. I mean, there's a little bit of a ding right there, but I plan on popping that off and just kind of massaging that out with, we got some shaping hammers for doing body work, and we can just massage that out. That's not very big at all, but the cabinet, it's in great shape. Of course, we got the guns for the Area 51. I did plug in a JAMA board in here, so I know the power supply and everything works in here. But what happened is the monitor is completely dead, and it's so dead that I think that the problem is in the power supply of the chassis board. Because you don't get neck glow, you don't get any kind of hum or nothing. It stops immediately. So I'd like to think that it's probably in the power supply section. I did check the fuse. The fuse is good, but usually when they're in like a horizontal shutdown or X-ray protection shutdown, you'll get some sort of a ticking or even just kind of you'll feel some heat coming off the board or something. But this thing is just dead as a doornail. So, of course, my little cheap Craftsman multimeter. I mean, say what you will, but I got this as a Christmas gift. I used the hell out of it, and it's actually stood the test of time. It's several years old, and that's my go-to guy. That's my first one I grabbed before I grabbed my fancier one. So, okay, so yeah, we were gonna send the chassis off to get repaired. I've already hooked up the tube analyzer, which is just over my shoulder here. And the tube appears to be in excellent shape. All the guns and tracking are spot on. So I have no reason to believe that when we get the chassis back that this thing should fire right up. You know, and if you guys are gonna do this, if you're gonna have like me, and there's a great guy on YouTube, John's Arcade. He's got a great 80s arcade, got a couple pinballs. He has a band as well as doing a arcade and video game related podcast. So check him out on YouTube. That's John's Arcade. You know, if you're going to have as many machines as we do, it's a good investment to get yourself a tube analyzer, a CRT analyzer rejuvenator. So when you have a monitor that's not working, you can hook up to it and you can determine, you know, quite quickly if it's worth repairing or not. Because, you know, if you're going to spend $150 to $200 on a chassis repair and you find your tube is shot, well, you know, finding a tube is going to be a needle in a haystack, you know. You're going to end up paying through the nose if you have to ship it too, you know. So, good investment. You know, I got my tube analyzer for maybe just under 75 bucks. So, you know, 75 bucks versus wasting 150 to 200 a couple of times before you learn your lesson. So, let's see here. This is the Naomi cabinet I just picked up. It's not in great shape. As I mentioned in my other video when we picked it up, there's a lot of water damage. There's a lot of rust on the exposed metal surfaces of connectors and stuff. So I think that this one is going to be dismantled for parts. But the funny thing about it is that everything works on it. The only thing that was dead was the actual game cartridge. For some reason, the game cartridge is just dead. But I plugged in my NetDim It was able to boot up. When I got it, the Naomi boots up. You know, it goes to the white Naomi boot screen, and it was giving me an error saying this game is not compatible with this main board. And it just turns out that the cartridge was just toast. I may open it up and see if there's anything inside, but I'm guessing that it's pretty much something for someone that's got a full electronics lab, you know. And I don't know if you could even reprogram the ROMs and stuff in it. But this game was Virtual Tennis 2, or Virtua Tennis 2, I should say. I'm going to keep calling it Virtual. Actually, here's the header right here. Let's see it here. That doesn't work. I'm just blocking myself in. But if you want to stand on your head, there's the marquee.